Hi, I'm Dr. Mike DiTolla, the Director of Clinical Affairs for Zirconia Dental. I'd like to welcome you to this Zirconia Media panel. And we are coming to you live from the floor of the 2016 Chicago Midwinter Meeting. And let's talk some solid zirconia, guys.
Let's do it.
Ingo Zimmer, Adam Busch, Dr. Todd Ehrlich. We made a big announcement in the last couple days about the fact that dentists can now do solid zirconia, the fastest growing restoration in the world, the strongest restoration in the world, short of cast gold, which is still a little bit stronger, but patients really don't like it, can now be done chairside. That's pretty revolutionary as far as I'm concerned. Adam, you had a lot to do with this. How the demo's been going? What are the dentists saying who are coming up and seeing it?
It's been fantastic. I mean, the last couple of weeks have been trainings. We've been going into to train the sales force as well. Every response we've gotten from them has been phenomenal because everybody tells us the same thing. There's so many dentists out there that do zirconia work today that they haven't been able to approach with CEREC. For whatever reason, CEREC has not been attractive to them. Now that we have the zirconia solution, it's a whole different ballgame. The conversations I have here on the floor have been totally different this year than all the years past. It is truly something that people have been waiting for and wanting for years.
Yeah, because this is not a material that's going to replace the other things that dentists are using in their CEREC units. CEREC just particularly covered a lot of aesthetic materials, but they were weaker and they needed to be bonded into place. And that whole profile going all the way to EMAX, which is certainly higher strength, 2 to 3 times as strong as other materials. But now we finally have the strongest one of all that can be made there as well. So it really just kind of fills out that product line and gives the dentist opportunity to do whatever they want to do.
And a doctor getting into this doesn't really have to change anything about what they're doing today. If they're already placing zirconia restorations, there's not much to do.
No.
I mean, you can speak
I mean, it is the most easy CEREC restoration I think I've ever made. I've seen thousands of restorations being milled, and the very first time you came into our office and showed that dry milling, I was absolutely blown away the way you guys figured out the technology. And now that I've been able to use it, I feel like I have the complete package of materials to offer the patients. And to be honest, a lot of the times, you may say, well, we're going to make this one work. We're gonna drive this one home, and you can be successful doing that, but sometimes you're not. And so now we can sleep better at night that we have the full range of materials in a very efficient and easy way to complete the restoration.
It's funny, the feedback from a lot of the beta testers has been, these restorations fit better than anything I've ever made before, chairside. And when you start to look at the precision of it and how thin you can mill some of the margins, it seems crazy, like a crazy magic trick. It starts off big, it gets 22% smaller, and people are saying these are the best fitting restorations. It would seem like it would not be able to be possible to be able to do that. It's truly an amazing feat of technology.
Knife edge margins are back in my practice now. Because this whole time I've been in the CAD/CAM world, that we just couldn't do it because of the limitations of the materials. But now, like you said, it mills big. With that tiny little burr that it uses, the precision is unbelievable.
And the detail on the occlusal surface. That's the other thing I heard from the beta testers. It was amazing. So, Ingo, I think part of the reason why this is such a revolution is that it stands to bring dentists who have said, I don't want to change my preps, I don't want to bond things, I don't want to have to prep a full chamfer. Dentists can essentially use any prep, and in fact, it doesn't even have to be a great prep. Zirconia will mold itself to almost any prep. This seems like a great time to bring more dentists into the CAD/CAM community.
No, absolutely. We know that about 70% of dentists in the United States place zirconia restorations, full contour zirconia restorations today with their labs. And now offering that solution through a single visit dentistry CEREC opportunity is great for us. Because now we offer the full range. You can have the full aesthetics, the beautiful restorations with the glass ceramics that we offer today, but if strength is more important to you, and then in a specific clinical situation, now we can do that too with zirconia in a single visit. And I think offering that spectrum now is tremendous for the dentist.
Yeah, Adam, it's got to be a great feeling to have a material that's been out there now for 6 years. It's selling like hotcakes. Dentists have shown they loved it. It was, originally we just thought it would be for molars. They're starting to use it in other places as well. It's got to be great to be able to offer a solution and have a crown that's already very popular that can now be done. Can you imagine trying to launch this if this was the first time dentists were hearing about solid zirconia?
No way. And even when they see it, they still don't believe it.
I know.
This is the amazing thing.
It is amazing.
A gentleman yesterday was looking at this, and he stood there and stared at it after I gave him the demonstration. He said, "I don't believe you." I said, "You just saw it. How do you
like to see it again? I don't believe you."
If I believe you, then I have to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember when they showed us the first prototype of the furnace? I approached it with a cup of coffee because I thought it was a little coffee maker. It was so small.
It does. It looks like a little Keurig machine.
Yeah, it was very
but that's
small.
funny. He was so incredulous. He didn't.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing a magic trick, and you're
Yeah.
like, "I'll do it again."
Yeah.
And he's like,
Exactly.
"You're
Yeah.
pulling like
You pull it
zirconia
out.
crowns out of his
There-
ears."
there
Like,
it is. There it
do
is.
you believe this? And it is true, because
Yeah.
when you see that and the simplicity and the strength and how strong these
Yeah.
things are, there was a guy who came by yesterday. I think he was from a lab actually, and he was like, we were talking about the 3-unit bridges. And he's like, he tried to break it. I guess he hasn't seen the hammer video. He cut himself because of a
knife edge margin.
knife edge margin. It has the word knife right in it.
it has in
Why
it.
are you trying to grab
Knife
onto
and
it?
edge.
Right.
You know?
It's not a massaging edge.
It's not massaging.
It's a knife edge. And as he tried to do it, he cut his finger. I wish somebody would have caught that on video.
Huge.
We have
and he
injured,
couldn't
right?
break it.
Right. Yeah, he was strong. He was a strong man.
Yeah.
And he couldn't break it. It's not to be used, for everything. Obviously, when you look at the aesthetics of it, it won't be mistaken for a natural tooth. That's going to improve because we've continued to see that
So
happen.
you know what?
with
I look at this as a starting point.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to start somewhere, and I mean,
It's molars.
those things fit unbelievably well. They're
Right.
unbelievably strong, and then the aesthetics part's going to work its way. But now's the time to get into CAD/CAM dentistry. Just because if you're a zirconia doctor, you need to do a chair side.
Right.
There's no other reason to not do it that way.
And according to the ADA, 80% of the crowns done every year are on molars, and this is a perfect molar material. And then you have your choice of beautiful materials to use in front of it.
Yeah.
And as this continues to look better, there'll be more chairside indications to move towards the anterior. But we have materials that work great there now. Other glass ceramics that work fantastic. So just for molars looks fantastic, and there's no patient that's going to look at that and go, no, I refuse that.
Exactly.
Especially when their other choice is cast gold because of limited occlusal reduction.
I'll never have a patient say, can you put a black line at the gum line and a silver dot right on top of it? Because that's the one I usually have.
Yeah, exactly.
In California, if you show patients both of these, they'll point at the
probably
white one.
the white one.
You go, that doesn't look like a toothache. Can you make them all bone white? It's like, no. There's got to be a little color in there as well.
But I'm telling you, Mike, I'm so excited for the dentist to have the opportunity providing single visit dentistry now with Zirconia.
Right.
Because now the patient can really benefit from that procedure, covering all the aspects, from the high aesthetic glass ceramic all the way to the even beautiful zirconia restoration. But this is truly a benefit for the dentist and the patient.
Right.
The single visit dentistry. I'm really excited for the dentist to provide that opportunity.
And really the amazing thing, Adam, I think, is the Speedfire, the sintering oven, which is also a staining and glazing oven, so they only need to have one. This would almost be worth doing even if the center cycle was 7 hours in the dental office. But that's a long time, Todd, to keep somebody in your office. You have to set up a cot, some snacks for them, because they're going to be spending the night in your office.
Rent a movie.
You have to drive in at 3 in the morning, re-anesthetize them. So
one thing we haven't really talked about with the Speedfire oven is the size of it, and the real estate of a dentist lab countertop is golden. So there's all of our labs are just jam-packed with things. And this thing is so small, you just move the lathe over a few inches, and then that thing will fit right in there. So look at all of our sintering ovens now. They're gigantic. They're enormous. So they don't make it easy to be in a general dentist office.
That's part of why the dentist didn't believe you.
Exactly.
There can't be an oven that's only this big. That's you're just screwing with me.
Yeah, again, it's designed for single units. It's designed for single visit dentistry and not for a massive lab environment.
Right. And so it wouldn't be necessarily practical in a lab because you can do 3-unit bridges or, like you said, a couple single units. But in the lab we were sintering 60, 70 restorations at a time. But no dentist has the need for that. Time is of the essence. The patient's only going to be done for so long.
What's interesting also about this process is the CAD/CAM software controls the flow.
Right.
So once the milling unit is done, the software actually sends the job specific to the volume of the restoration, so that every cycle is different for every restoration. So I could have an 11-minute cycle, I could have 15, depending on how big the crown is.
Right.
And then I go immediately into a glazing cycle as soon as when I'm done with sintering.
Yeah, exactly.
What also means in this workflow is I could be milling something and sintering something simultaneously. So I have patients moving in my office constantly. So the productivity is there. For sure.
And that's intelligent sintering, which I trademarked. and I'm now charging my own company, Sirona, to use it.
The IS system.
But intelligent sintering is that it knows the size of it, it knows how thick it is in all the different areas, and it knows the shape as well, and so it sinters it exactly as much as it needs to be without any extra weighting and without underdoing it as well if it happens to be an extraordinarily thick crown.
One really cool thing about all this is that although there's the time for the sintering, although it's very short, and then there's a glaze cycle, we really save a lot of the time of the appointment on the back end when we're cementing these, because how easy is it? We just talked about bonding versus traditional cementation a minute ago, and when you have good mechanical resistance retention form, a good knife edge margin, it goes in, that's easy, and it's going to be predictable, it's going to last a long time, it's very proven, so I can sleep well at night knowing that that's going to work out.
Yeah, there's witchcraft involved with bonding to dentin. You know, there's always a little like the humidity of the room and saying a little prayer, and then as you start to get anywhere near the gingiva,
we have
isolation.
Come in and
exactly.
Holy
water.
Holy
It almost is like that, and it can lead to more post-operative sensitivity. But cementing's been around forever. It's a classic dental technique, and we know it works, and easy to clean up. It's much harder to leave cement afterwards, you know.
And another thing that we were talking about, you know, decades out, when we're cutting these things off, it may be better to not have them bonded in to somebody. There's an argument.
One time, I feel like part of your decision whether or not you're going to cement or bond should be on the fact that knowing that you or one of your kids who goes to dental school or some dentist
is going to have to
cut this thing off.
Yeah.
And for that reason, our recommendation always been cement everything you can and bond only when you have to.
That's a good
because even for the patient's best interest too. Because as you go to cut them off, you can bang into the tooth a little more than you wanted to.
Generate heat, all those things.
Right.
So anyway.
Well,
just a better overall process altogether, for sure.
I'm going to get a chance to see the Sirona R&D department in a couple weeks when we're over there. And one of the things that I want to say to the esteemed Dr. Pfeiffer is, hey, can you make me a reversible cement? You put it on and you cure it, and then if you want to take the crown off later, you hit it with the anti-curing light.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll say, what's that? You know, where do you get one of those? I don't know. You're Dr. Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
you made that up.
Exactly.
Make me an anti-curing light.
Exactly.
I'm just a big picture guy, Dr. Pfeiffer. You're the one who has to figure all this stuff out. I hope to see, as part of the merger as well. Also, we have a lot of cements. We have a lot of other things that we can play with and a lot of brain trust and R&D over there. And it would be cool if we could really start to innovate. Can you imagine that, Todd? Just being able to take a crown on and off at will?
No, it would be, imagine it.
I know yours fall off with...
What's that?
I know your crowns fall off a lot, but
might come off on their own. Little Jolly Rancher trick, they come right off, But hey, that promotes business in my office.
Exactly.
No, but just imagine if I'm just thinking out loud, what if we had the ability to reverse this? If we had the ability to do what you're saying, reverse it, we would have to have something as strong as that.
Right.
And as predictable as that. Because if that was the thing that was actually changing, we need something like that to make it work.
Yeah, Zirconia does not care what's underneath it.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how much it might expand upon when it sets or anything like that. So it really is exciting, the ability to be able to do this. I've been in love with Zirconia just because I've seen how it brings doctors' remakes down. That's one of the big things inside the lab is that it brought our 40 biggest accounts, their remakes down 35%.
Wow.
Because it just fit better and was more tolerant of their preps, which weren't always perfect. And anything we could do to bring dentist remakes down, they're happier, the patients get crowned sooner, there's less reimpressions, and that's always a good idea, so I've been very passionate about it. And to be able to introduce it now in a chairside form, not only the dentists who currently own the system, who get to start using it, but the new ones who come in as a result of this are going to be thrilled, because it's a real game changer for the chairside CAD/CAM industry.
We're pretty excited about that.
All right, boys, thank you for your time. We appreciate that. Thank you for your time as well. We appreciate you watching, and thanks for your commitment to quality dentistry.